The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
This is pretty straightforward. If, in fact, IRS personnel engaged in the kind of practices that have been reported on and were intentionally targeting conservative groups, then that's outrageous, and there's no place for it. They have to be held fully accountable because the IRS, as an independent agency, requires absolute integrity, and people have to have confidence that they're applying it in a nonpartisan way.
That was President Obama last hour reacting to the IRS's admission, after it was caught, that it specifically targeted the tax status of conservative groups during the 2012 elections. Oh, but that's not all. It's not just conservative groups. The news first broke on Friday. We brought it to you here. And we have since learned that the IRS's actions went much further than was originally first reported. An Inspector General's report. See, they were working on this, examining the IRS, and it was determined that they had done some things. And then came the sudden admission. They find that this practice started back in early 2010 with the IRS looking into Tea Party and Patriot groups. Oh, but that's not all. By June of 2011, the list had drastically expanded, and it now included groups that focused on government spending, government debt, and taxes. If you're interested in one of those, your IRS may have been targeting you for extra screening and scrutiny if you sought tax-exempt status. Lou Dobbs is host of Lou Dobbs Tonight on the Fox Business Network, and that's not all. They wanted extra scrutiny and information on groups whose goals included limiting government and educating on the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Anyone criticizing how the country is being run, anyone lobbying to, quote, make America a better place to live. And so my question to you is, does the president understate it when he calls this, quote, outrageous?
What is outrageous is that the president of the United States stands before the American people and lies through his teeth. That is what is outrageous.
How did he lie?
This president said, if we find out that they did these things. There is no if. The president must have forgotten that the Internal Revenue Service took the extraordinary step last week and admitted doing these things and apologized for doing these things. And then this president, as if he's sitting at a dentist chair and would have great reluctance, says that if they are found to have done these things, we will have to hold them accountable, as if that would not be his first and immediate and urgent action to take. This is a president who has lost his way, and the demeanor of this president in this press conference, angry, and I absolutely as intransigent in his viewpoint that nothing, move along, there's nothing here.
Certainly on Benghazi we saw that. But let me ask you, because the president said, I didn't know anything about it. I don't know about the IRS. Now they're saying that the senior leadership at the IRS, I didn't know anything about it. On the heels of Hillary Clinton saying, I didn't know anything about those extra requests for security in Benghazi, Libya. Who knows something about anything that matters? I mean, is there anybody who's minding the shop? Because it seems like if you've got all these groups being targeted by the IRS for extra scrutiny, and you've got our top diplomat begging for extra security in Libya, somebody should be paying attention.
It goes beyond that, I think, Megan, far beyond that. This is far more serious than anything that I think had been contemplated last week when it first broke. This is an agency with an enemies list. This is Nixonian. This is a president whose inner Nixon is being revealed. This is a government that is out of control.
But the IRS thing is not tied to him yet.
The IRS is tied to him in the following way. He is, in fact, responsible for the nomination and the actions of the Internal Revenue Service, as is former Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner. This is not an agency that exists, as he puts it, independently. The commissioner is appointed by the President of the United States. Schulman, previously there, he and the rest of the administration been talking about, he was appointed by George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Schulman is a Democrat. He is a Democrat and had served in the Financial Industry Regulatory Agency before that.
Schulman is the IRS commissioner, and he testified before Capitol Hill, he testified on Capitol Hill on March 22nd, 2012 about this, saying he he did not acknowledge any of these practices and was adamant in his denials. We have a small clip.
Can you give us assurances that the IRS is not targeting particular groups based on political leanings?
There's absolutely no targeting. This is the kind of back and forth that happens when people apply for 501c4 status.
Really?
Absolutely, and let us be clear, this happens to be the politicization of the Internal Revenue Service was one of the counts against Richard M. Nixon in his impeachment. Let there be no doubt. This is a tremendously important charge that is being leveled against this administration, not only by Republicans, but Democrats as well. And the president's performance today was, to be kind, disappointing on the part of a commander-in-chief.
And what does it mean now that we have that testimony, I believe under oath? We're going to talk to a special prosecutor about IRS and Benghazi next hour. Plus, for the first time ever,
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.